Hi, and welcome to Lynn's Garden in Manchester, Washington, the Pacific Northwest. And this is the middle of August, August 13th. These are the things that are still blooming for us. My jasmine is still blooming, although it is getting a little sad looking. I still have pretty hostas. And along the side of the shed are asters that will be blooming in about 2 weeks. Over here I have a hydrangea that I transplanted. Have some very unusual ginger mint. And I call it unusual because the flowers go in a circle around the stem. Very delicate. My potentilla is seeding up nicely, but it still attracts a bee or two. My Japanese, I don't know how you pronounce it, Pirius or however, is getting taller. This one is just a regular one, and then across the pathway I have a variegated one. And I must say I prefer the variegated one. It's a lot prettier. My phlox is pretty much over. It's just barely hanging in there. I've deadheaded it a few times now. And it does reblossom, but it takes it forever to do that. And my rock rose has stopped blooming, but I still have some penstemon down here in red. And I still have a daylily that wants to bloom. Pansies are self-seeding. And a pansy is a biannual, and so it will flower 1 year, and then the next year the plant doesn't flower, but its seeds will that come up. And over here we have my lavatera, which I've cut back and deadheaded a lot, and it's still doing pretty good. It's still attracting the bees. And I've still got a hosta that's blooming. Hostas do very well here. And by the side of the pond, I have my asters that will bloom in a couple of weeks. And they'll be a very pale purple. And this is my rambling rose, which I've got to get the big ladder out and clip, because I don't like it to go over my shed roof. I trimmed up the bottom part, but now I got to do the top part. Now, if you had watched my walkabouts a few weeks ago, you would know that I cut back my roses, did a lot of deadheading, and this is what I have going on now because I did that. I try and buy everbloom roses, which means they will bloom as long as you cut off the deadhead. And this is my candy cane one. and it is positively gorgeous. It's doing more now than it did in the early spring. And on the other side of the path here, this is my little fountain. But on the other side of the path, we have hydrangea down the hill. And that's starting to fade out. My daisies have gone by. And I have my hollyhocks that I tied up together because they get so tall they just bend over, they can't support themselves. And next to the hollyhocks, I have my blue lace hydrangea, and we're going to get a plane going over here in just a minute. And then just past the blue lace hydrangea, well, there's a hollyhock. I have my Japanese anemones. Looking back towards the patio. And down here I have a pink, which really isn't pink, it's coral colored. If I can find it in my viewfinder here. But I just did some researching on some pinks earlier, and they come in all colors. And of course my dogwoods and everything have stopped blooming. But behind the pond here, we have my euthanasia, and we have some black-eyed Susans. So it's a nice pop of color. And of course we have fairies. And under here, under my climbing yellow rose, which curls, I have some tiger lilies. And at the end of my shed here, I have my knockout rose, which I just clipped that back as well. So that's all blossomed up again. And I have my hostas, which the blossoms have gone by and they're starting to make seeds. So this year I'm going to save my seeds and plant my own next year. Hopefully it'll work. I have my beautiful double pink rose, which I cut back severely this summer because it was almost the height of my climbing yellow rose. And some more of the tiger lilies. And I also have a climbing hydrangea over here. There's a huckleberry bush, and I planted zucchinis and summer squash. My beans have pretty much gone by. And my little tea rose is starting to blossom up again. I didn't deadhead that one, so it's not blossoming too well. And I've got to deadhead eventually my my butterfly bush. I'm going to prune that way back this year because it's just gotten way too big. And some more ever-blooming roses. And the leaves are falling out of the trees. I think it's going to be an early fall. And another hydrangea. That one I transplanted in the early spring. So it blossoms with big blossoms, but not this year. Probably not till next year, when it gets more established. And I have a natural area back here, which I will eventually get in and weed. But I've had visitors, so it's set me back about a week. There's a little fruit tree, and lilacs, and phlox, and the other side of my hydrangea. I have various pathways going through the yard, which actually makes it seem like it's a little bit bigger. But that's about it for here. I do have my fuchsia, which this is the second year that it's come up, and it's just beautiful. See if I can get a close-up of one of the little lantern-type flowers. But it's just filled with all those little lantern flowers. This is all of my Japanese anemones. So if you like a wispy flower, those are perfect. You just got to give them plenty of room, or else you're going to be weeding them out constantly. And down here, I have another daylily that wants to bloom. So that's the second blooming of two of my daylilies. They're a different variety. So that's it for now for Lynn's garden. And I hope everybody is staying safe with the coronavirus out there. And I'll see you again in a couple of weeks for another trip around the garden to see what is fall blooming. Bye for now.